Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Beckman, and I'm a registered dietitian with the New York State Office for the Aging and SNAP-Ed New York. Thanks for joining me today on What's Cooking with Wendy. Today, I'm going to be making a grilled vegetable packet. We're going to be posting the link to the recipe in the chat box. The recipe can also be found on the SNAP-Ed New York website at www.snapedny.org. Now, I'm going to be demonstrating this recipe the way that it's written, but the vegetable packets are more of a cooking technique than a recipe, so you can use all kinds of different ingredients to make it the way that you like it. You can make these vegetables on the grill, or if you don't have a grill, you can use the same technique in your oven. If you're going to make these packets in the oven, I suggest that you put them on a cookie sheet or in a baking dish like this. If you don't do that, they're going to be hard to remove after they've baked a little bit and when they're hot. So it's important to put them on something sort of sturdy, especially if you're going to do it in the oven. I'm also going to talk a little bit about roasting vegetables in your oven at the end of the demonstration. Now, before we get into the recipe, last month I made apricot lemon chicken. And if you didn't get a chance to see the demonstration live, you can still view it here on the New York State Office for the Aging Facebook page, or you can see it on the New York State Office for the Aging YouTube channel. We can put a link to the NYSOFA YouTube channel in the chat box. And you're going to want to like and subscribe to the NYSOFA YouTube channel. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so that you don't miss any new videos when they get posted. Now, I ended up with a lot of that apricot lemon chicken because I had tested the recipe earlier in the week. And then I made some in the oven, and I also made some on the stovetop when I was doing this demonstration. So I had quite a bit left over. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. I really liked the recipe because it was a little bit tart and a little bit sweet from the lemon and the apricot, but I didn't really want to just reheat it. So I ended up making chicken salad with it. I chopped it up, I added some light mayonnaise and some banana peppers, which also have that sort of sweet and sour taste to them, and it was so delicious. So if you make that recipe and you have some left over, or you make some extra on purpose just so you can make some chicken salad at the end, I highly suggest it. It was really delicious, and I had lunch figured out for the next 3 days. So do any of you have any favorite ways that you like to use leftover chicken? If you do, post your favorites in the chat box because I'm always looking for new ways to use leftover chicken, and I'd love to hear your ideas. So let's get into making these vegetable packets. Remember to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer before you start cooking. We've all got used to using the alcohol-based hand sanitizer in the last year. So obviously this recipe falls into the fruits and vegetables section on the My Plate graphic. And I know you've heard me say before to make half your plate fruits and vegetables at each meal. This recipe is a great way to make a whole bunch of vegetables all at once so that you can fill up your plate. Remember that everything that you eat and drink over time matters. You want to find your healthy eating style and maintain it for a lifetime. The right mix can help you be healthier now and in the future. Now, most Americans don't eat enough fruits and vegetables every day. So you know that I love to share with you ideas on how to eat more fruits and vegetables every day. So let's look at the ingredients for the recipe. You want to remember to wash your produce before you slice it. You can just rinse it under some clean running water. The potatoes might need to be scrubbed with a brush or a towel before you slice them if there's a lot of dirt on them. And this recipe makes 5 servings, and I've cut the recipe in half. I cooked the other half earlier so that I could show you how it turned out. But here I have 1 small zucchini sliced. The recipe calls for 2 zucchinis, small ones, and I have 1 of them here. I have 1 small yellow squash sliced. The recipe calls for small red potatoes sliced, and I use the baby potatoes. I just added maybe about a cup or so. It's probably 4 or 5 of the small baby potatoes. I have 1/4 of a cup of red onion and 1/4 of a bell pepper. I used red because I like the color, but you can use green, yellow, or orange bell peppers, whatever you have. I also have about a quarter cup of light Italian dressing. The recipe also calls for a dash of salt and pepper. The salt and pepper are optional. Remember that salt is one of those things that we want to limit or avoid, especially if you have high blood pressure, since the excess salt in your diet can make high blood pressure worse. I found that I didn't really need to add the salt and pepper because the seasoning and the Italian dressing was enough. You can add other seasonings also, anything like oregano, basil, garlic powder, whatever you have, whatever you like. You can make it a little spicy if you like to. So let me put all of these things together. I'm going to put all the vegetables in a large bowl and add the Italian dressing. Then I'm going to toss the vegetables with the Italian dressing until the vegetables are evenly coated. So let's put all of these in here. You have the zucchini and the yellow squash. These are the potatoes. I have the red onion and the red pepper. Now I'm going to put the Italian dressing over the top. And then I'm going to start mixing that together so that all the vegetables get coated. I want to sort of go from the bottom of the bowl and mix it around. Make sure that you are getting everything coated. And that's starting to look pretty good there. So once those vegetables are coated, you can place the vegetables on the tin foil. Like I said earlier, this recipe makes 5 servings, so you're probably going to need to divide the vegetables evenly into 2 pieces of foil. You can make a packet out of the foil by sort of bringing the sides up and crimping them at the top. I like to make sort of a triangle and crimp the top and then put the sides so that the vegetables don't fall out. Or you can put them all on one piece of foil and put a second piece of foil on the top, and then crimp the edges of the top and bottom pieces together. And then it's going to look a little bit more like a square or a rectangle. So, you can do it a couple of different ways. And I'm going to put some of these vegetables on the tinfoil here and put it together so that you can see what that sort of looks like. If I can make sure that they don't all run away on me. Then I take them, put the packet together like this, roll up the top, and then I like to take the sides and sort of put everything together like that. And then the other side, put that together. And there you have your packet. So hopefully that makes sense. You're going to place the packet on a 350-degree grill or in an oven that's been preheated to 400 degrees. Like I said, if you do that, you're going to put it in a dish like this. In the oven or on the grill, the vegetables will probably take 20 to 40 minutes to cook. You should cook them until the potatoes are tender. Now, this is what it looks like when it's all cooked. And this is what the squash looks like. So you can see all of the different colors in there. I cooked this one in the oven because I have to be honest, I did not want to get the grill going at 8 a.m. this morning. But you can see all of the vegetables here. You've got green with the zucchini, yellow from the squash. You've got red from the peppers, purple from the onions, and they're all coated with that light Italian dressing. When this was in the oven this morning, it really smelled delicious. Now let me show you some other packets that I made with different ingredients. Here I have a packet with some sweet potatoes and some dried cranberries. I just added a tablespoon of brown sugar to the packet before grilling. The sweet potatoes did take a little longer, more like 50 minutes instead of 30 to 40 minutes. I also sliced the potatoes thin and cut the larger pieces in half so that the potatoes would cook more evenly. You just have to plan ahead if you're going to do something like the sweet potatoes or, certain types of squash that are a little bit harder, a little more dense. They might take a little bit longer to cook. Now I also have this packet and I added some asparagus, some onions, some of the red onions that I had from this other recipe, some grape tomatoes and some balsamic vinegar and olive oil. I like to use the grape tomatoes in this kind of recipe for a couple of different reasons. First, this time of year, there's lots of great fresh tomatoes with really great flavor out there. With the grape tomatoes, there's no cutting involved. You just rinse them and add them to the packet. When the tomatoes are cooked, the skins break a little, just a little bit, and they are soft but not too mushy. And I love the color and the flavor that they add to this dish. Now you can see from all of these variations that the sky is really the limit. You can add just about any vegetable that you want and make it the way that you like it. I think that it would be great with maybe some broccoli or some cauliflower. There's certainly, many different vegetables that you could use. I think that probably these vegetables, it works best if you are going to use fresh vegetables. I'm sure that there are some frozen ones that you could use, and maybe you guys can think of some different ideas. I know that, like I said, the broccoli or the cauliflower might be really good, and maybe even green beans would probably be good to cook it this way. I know that you've heard me say that all forms of vegetables count. So fresh, frozen, canned, dried, all can be used to make half your plate fruits and vegetables. And honestly, the vegetable that you eat is better than the vegetable that you don't eat. And I've said that before too, don't forget it. But this recipe, like I said, the fresh vegetables probably hold up the best. So do you have any ideas on what kind of vegetables you'd like to use? If so, type in your suggestions into the chat box because we would love to hear your ideas. Now, if you don't want to use the tin foil, you can roast your vegetables in the oven by placing them on a cookie sheet or in a baking pan, sort of like this one. You're going to want to slice your vegetables, wash them first, and you're going to spread them out so that there's only one layer of vegetables. You don't want to stack them too high because they won't cook very well. I then like to add a drizzle of olive oil and any other seasonings that you like. I think my favorite are like the basil and the oregano and maybe some garlic powder. So roasting the vegetables gives the vegetables a stronger flavor than, say, boiling them. And sometimes it'll add a little bit of a crispy texture. It's an easy technique for making vegetables in a different way. You can also use skewers to grill vegetables. Here are some that I found at my local grocery store. The directions on the package say to soak them in water for about 30 minutes before you use them. You can then add the chunks of vegetables or fruit onto the skewers and place them on the grill. The skewers will prevent the vegetables from falling between the grates on the grill. And I've seen some recipes for grilled pineapple, grilled strawberries. I've never tried that before, but that sounded really good. So I hope this recipe has given you some more ideas on how to incorporate more vegetables into your diet. Don't forget to join me next month when I share more tips on how to save time, save money, and eat healthy. In August, I'm going to be making a squash soup. It's a great recipe because you can use many different kinds of squash to make it. Butternut, even things like pumpkin squash can be used for that type of soup. I can't wait to give it a try. So I'll be back with another edition of What's Cooking with Wendy on Friday, August 27th at 11:30 a.m. right here on the New York State Office for the Aging Facebook page. This presentation was funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and this institution is an equal opportunity provider. Have a great day and stay safe out there.